All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're digging into a method from our source material that, honestly, sounds like it's straight out of a science fiction movie. It's called the Tick-Tock or Tap-Tap method, and the claim? It can supposedly reset the human body in an instant. So let's take a look at what the sources have to say.
Okay, so to really get a grip on just how wild these claims are, we're not going to start with the how. Nope, we're jumping right to the end result. And trust me, it's a result so dramatic, so out of the blue, that the person it happened to, well, they could barely believe it was real.
Just listen to this quote. "It feels like a lie." I mean, wow. Those are the actual words from a woman in our source material. We're talking about someone who was dealing with debilitating pain for years, so bad that her life had basically just stopped. And then, in a matter of moments, everything was different.
And when I say different, the contrast is, it's just staggering. The source tells us she was confined to her bed for over 2 years, couldn't stand up straight, had to rely on a cane just to move around. And then, moments after this procedure, she's walking, confidently, standing perfectly tall, pain-free. And the cane? Gone. It's a transformation that is truly hard to wrap your head around.
So, the big question, right? What on earth could cause a change that big, that fast? You'd think it has to be some kind of revolutionary surgery, or maybe a super powerful new medication. But, according to the source material, the answer is, well, it's a lot simpler than that.
Yeah, you'd totally expect the solution to be just as complicated as the problem was severe, but no. What the source describes is so simple it's almost shocking. And that's exactly what makes this whole thing so fascinating.
So get this, here's the entire procedure. First, an expert finds one tiny specific spot on the body. Second, they give it a few light taps. That's the talk part. And third, well, there is no third step. That's it. The change, they say, happens right then and there, instantly. No fancy machines, no medicine, just a tap.
Okay, so how in the world is that supposed to work? I know, that's what you're thinking. Well, the source material gives this method a formal name, and it comes with a theory to try and explain these incredible claims.
It's called brain reset therapy, or BRT for short. And that name? It's the biggest clue we've got. The whole idea here is that you're not trying to fix a muscle or a bone directly. Nope. The goal is to reset the brain's control over them. So here's the fundamental concept. That little tap, it's not like a massage or some kind of physical adjustment. Think of it more like a signal, a tiny piece of information that gets sent straight to the body's main command center, the brain. And once the brain gets that signal, the theory goes, it uses the autonomic nervous system, the part that handles all the stuff you don't think about, like breathing, to send out a brand new command. It essentially reboots the problem area, correcting the old error signal that was causing all the trouble.
And this might be the most mind-blowing part of the whole claim. This entire chain of events, the tap, the signal to the brain's new command, is all said to happen in less than 1 second. A complete, instantaneous biological reboot.
Now that story about the woman who could suddenly walk again is obviously incredibly powerful. But according to the source, this isn't some one-off miracle. No, they present a whole range of other supposed benefits. For example, listen to this. After a few taps on his neck, a man in the source video describes this feeling of sudden increased mobility. His words were, "It's like someone oiled my joints." Just imagine that feeling, a smooth, fluid, immediate change. And it's not just about how people feel either. The source actually presents some hard numbers. For example, a golfer's drive was measured before and after the therapy. The reported result? An immediate performance boost of, get this, 111%. Now that is an unbelievably specific, and let's be honest, a very bold claim. And the list just keeps going. The source material presents this therapy as a potential fix for chronic neck and back pain, poor circulation, and even nerve pressure, kind of framing it as an antidote for all the common ailments that come with our modern lifestyles. So, where does that leave us? You've got these absolutely extraordinary stories, these incredible results, and it's all supposedly thanks to a simple tap and a neurological theory. It really pushes us to ask a pretty deep, fundamental question about that connection between our minds and our bodies. So what does this all suggest about that brain-body connection? The source material we've explored today poses a really provocative idea. That maybe, just maybe, our bodies are just waiting for the right command, the right signal, to unlock a potential we never even knew we had. What if the key to radical change isn't a complex procedure,
but simply knowing where to tap.